4 letters, countless misconceptions. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, which already sounds confusing and complicated. In fact, it is, especially when it comes to diagnosis. ADHD is a congenital disorder that affects the processing of information and individual perception. The causes that promote the development of ADHD have not yet been fully elucidated. The current state of research assumes that many individual genetic changes interact in this process. Furthermore, these factors are almost certainly related to various pregnancy and birth complications, but environmental influences and a genetic predisposition also play a role. The best known and most common symptoms are very short attention span, poor concentration, and impulsive behavior. Children often stand out as disruptors in class. Some are wrongly diagnosed with a learning disability. But even in adulthood, people still struggle with ADHD. Again, the most common preconceptions are laziness and listlessness, a tendency to intense procrastination, and bad behavior in the form of inattention and emotional outbursts. For lay people, it is indeed difficult to distinguish whether these prejudices are true and whether an ADHD disorder is actually present. However, the following 5 signs presented in today's video speak quite certainly for ADHD. At this point, we would like to point out that our video is for information purposes only and not for diagnosis. If you like our videos, feel free to support us with a thumbs up, subscribe to Psychology in Mind, activate the little bell, and get ready for new videos we upload for you every day. Number 1. Attention span is very short. People with ADHD have a tremendous amount of difficulty focusing on one thing. They always seem a little scattered and are very easily distracted, or so it seems, by all sorts of influences. Spending an hour reading a book, doing a chore, or watching a movie is almost impossible for ADHD patients. Adults may be able to get out of these situations quite well, but children suffer enormously, and so ADHD is often first recognized at school. If a child is unable to concentrate on a task for a short while, even by childish standards, disrupts lessons, and cannot sit still, the conclusion is obvious. However, only a medical specialist can and should make an expert diagnosis. Teachers or educators are certainly qualified to give parents an appropriate hint if necessary, but nothing more. Number 2. Hints from childhood. Anyone who struggles as an adult with symptoms that could point to ADHD probably noticed the harbingers of it as a child. If you were one of those children just mentioned who was unpleasant in class and constantly put his or her teachers through their paces, a medical evaluation would definitely be worthwhile. Unfortunately, a troublesome childhood cannot be undone, but an appropriate diagnosis would explain a lot and make the present a lot easier, for example, with the help of medication. The problem with the diagnosis of ADHD is it has an extremely varied presentation. Some children are therefore misdiagnosed or not recognized at all as patients of the disorder. They used to be regarded as troublemakers, fidgeters, and simply badly behaved. Today, many amateur therapists might just as soon suspect giftedness when conspicuous behavior arises. The range of symptoms in ADHD is always a challenge, even for trained professionals. However, if there is a hint of suspicion, it's definitely worth seeking clarity. Otherwise, children in particular would be destined to live as outsiders, struggling not only with their inner demons, but also, and above all, with the lack of understanding and intolerance of their environment. Number 3. Weak impulse control. People who quickly run out of patience and go ballistic over every little thing may also suffer from ADHD. However, the mood swings can also be similar to those of depressive disorders. This type of symptom not only makes life extremely difficult for the sufferers themselves, but also for those around them. It might be easier to understand if these outbursts were actually based on an inborn behavioral disorder, but weak impulse control has many other faces. Some people need to interrupt every conversation, crash every meeting, and constantly force themselves into every situation. This apparent bad behavior can be a symptom of ADHD, but it gets worse. Many patients suffer for years from not being able to avoid risky situations. Their desire for an adrenaline rush seems limitless, even in the most everyday scenarios. But there are other signs of weak impulse control. Anyone who constantly spends more money than she or he has available, accumulates mountains of debt without end, and indulges in shopping sprees without limit, may be struggling with an inborn behavioral disorder and not with mere shopping addiction. However, a generalization is neither appropriate nor meaningful. As with all medical and psychological abnormalities, laypersons can only ever conjecture and express a suspicion. The experts must make the diagnosis. Number 4. Chaos reigns. Supposedly, the condition of a home reflects the mental inner workings of its occupants. Even if ADHD only manifests itself in the form of the creative genius who can't get his life and things in order, this calls for professional clarification. However, there is a world of difference between lovable chaos and drowning in the very banal things of everyday life. As soon as the person themselves does not suffer from it and can pursue an orderly occupation, there's nothing to correct. Those who, however, can't keep appointments and whose homes show no sign of organization should start the journey back to normality with a trip to the doctor's office. Number 5. Putting things on the back burner. The tactic of procrastination is common to a great many people, not all of whom suffer from ADHD. Nevertheless, the unnecessary and consistent postponement of tasks can be a clear symptom. Here, the short attention span certainly plays a role, as it is very difficult for those affected to stay on the ball long enough to complete a project. Most of the time, these people are put off by the mere idea of devoting themselves to just one activity for a certain amount of time. Sometimes, however, ADHD manifests itself like depression. Those affected find it unspeakably difficult to get going and do the smallest of tasks. In such cases, medication can help, as can consultation with a psychologist or a psychotherapist. Various therapeutic approaches, such as behavioral or talk therapy, have been shown to yield very good results. Today's conclusion: understanding ADHD. Don't judge a person until you've walked a mile in their shoes. This wise saying is as true as anything when it comes to rashly judging others. Not everyone can help how she or he affects other people. Many neurological disorders look to outsiders like the consequences of a bad upbringing, a night of drinking, or experimentation with illegal substances. When in doubt, restraint and respect should always prevail in dealing with others. No healthy person can even imagine what it feels like to have to live with chronic illnesses, congenital disorders, or other impairments that you can't escape without professional help. That's it for today.
Thanks for watching. Did you find this information helpful? Do you have experience with it? We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts. For more resources about mental health, self-improvement, and psychology, visit our website. You'll find the link in the video description where you can also connect with us on social media and sign up for our email list. Take care of yourself and have a beautiful day.